same final in the women's TT. It was a shorter course, 30 kilometres long. They didn't do the 15 Ks of flat from Zurich. They started in Gossau, went up the middle ramp or hill zone, so the whole final was the same, but they had the first intermediate in the middle ramp and then a intermediate time check at Zeestrasse before the flat finish. Grace Brown was the $2 favourite, then Dyget the second favourite, and then Kopecky the third favourite. It was a shorter market. Vollering was fourth favourite at 10, so much more riders given the chance to win this TT. And I think I would start with Kopecky, Benji, because she went before the other big favourites.
Yes, sure. We'll start with Kopecky. And, like, to be honest, we get the early starters, etc. But when you get the first times of the riders that come after that, I actually kind of want to start with someone like Niedermayer. Because Niedermayer set a really good first time. And that's the one I'd compare the Kopecky time to. Because then Kopecky crossed the first time check. And I swear she was quite a bit behind Niedermayer at the first time check. So I was like, okay, this is not looking amazing. And yes, this is a different parkour than the men's, like you said. We've got the first time check on top of the first climb, so we've had the climbing segment, or at least a portion of the climbing segment already once we hit that time check. And you'd expect Niedermayer to maybe climb quite well, because she's a very talented 21-year-old climbing/TT talent. But then Kopecky in the Romandy, etc., was climbing very well as well. So I was expecting Kopecky to be better at T1. As simple as that. But that could also be a show of force for Niedermayer. So I kind of was torn between, okay, maybe Niedermayer overperformed or Kopecky underperformed. Maybe a combination of both. Let's see who else comes afterwards. But between those two, I feel like the difference between the two riders kind of stayed similar at second time check and towards the finish, where Niedermayer took the best of Kopecky, which I wasn't expecting before this race started. And I do want to mention, before we go to the rest of the riders that started here, like Niedermayer, I swear we spoke about her, was it 2 years ago or maybe last year, where she rode the German ITT champions. Maybe in 2023 she rode the U23 ITT, but she rode a faster time than the winner of the Elite one. And that's how we already knew that she was a good time trial from before that, but that showed, okay, she's got something. She's the best German TTer, but she's riding U23 version of it. And it kind of followed up from there, where she started climbing very well in races. She was 4th in L'Avenir in 2023, but next to that, she already won a stage at Giraudon earlier that year as well. So she's a very talented rider. Again, only 21 years old. And then she sets a very good time here, where when Niedermayer set the time, I'm thinking, okay, Brown's probably going to beat that. Dyger's probably going to beat that. Vollering depends on which Vollering we get, because we've had fantastic time trial Vollerings before. We've also had ones where I was like, okay, maybe not. Van Dijk, she hasn't really had it recently after that injury, which I kind of... It's logical. I kind of understand that. With the injuries she had, we can't expect her to be top-notch either. But who else, outside of Brown, Vollering, and Dyger, did you see as a possibility to beat Niedermayer? I was kind of looking for riders.
Maybe Van Dijk. I mean, she was looking good. She was looking all right, 5th at T1. But I think she cooked herself on the climb, because on the fast section where the bigger riders had the advantage, she was 12th. She couldn't go over 50 k's an hour. She was about 4 k's an hour slower in the last 11 minutes than Brown. So she really blew up, and she finishes actually 8th in this TT. Anna Henderson, she was just too far back at T1. You're not going to come back like... She's 9th at T1. She progressively improves, 6th T1 to T2, but she's 5th in the T2 to the finish. But yeah, she ends up 7th, and it immediately actually looked like a 2-horse race, just like the men's. What we thought would be a 3-horse race, Tarling Remco Ganna, turned into a 2-horse race. It's the same here. Brown is 16:20 at T1, 6 seconds ahead of Vollering. Dyger's on 30 seconds. To Vollering. She's on 37 seconds. You can't... It's a 39-minute TT. Where's she going to make up? You've already shipped 30 seconds, and that's for a reason too. And yeah, she's out of the range for the win. And now it's can Brown hold Vollering on the climb or the hills or the descent? Actually, that was the T1 in the women's. The T1 was after the first uphill climb, so it was actually the next bit. It had two descents and another section of hills where Vollering goes 15 seconds quicker than Brown. And so Vollering was up at T2 with 10.5 minutes left, all flat. Vollering is ahead of Brown, and you can't assume she'll slow down. Like, she won the Tour de France Femme TT, which was pancake flat in Rotterdam, and she got, I guess, closer. She was 6 seconds slower than Brown in that zone. She was much closer on the descent. So, much closer on the descent, much slower to T1. So Vollering, obviously her descending was excellent, which we can visibly see. Same with Niedermeyer. Kopecky, she's just not really close. She's fifth in the end at the finish. And that last T2 to the finish, Grace Brown on that fast section basically puts the hammer down and destroys everybody. This is where she is way quicker than everybody else. 14 seconds quicker than Dygert on a 53k an hour section. She is 26 seconds quicker than Vollering and completely flips the script, goes from red to green and wins this TT by 16.5 seconds ahead of Demi Vollering. Huge performance. She won by 1:30 at the Olympics ahead of Henderson maybe. And now she confirms it, and winning the Olympic Games TT and the World Championships TT in the same year. The next person to do that was Remco about 2 hours afterwards, but she did it first. And just what a year for Brown. Wins Liège, wins the two biggest TT championships or races in the world in the year she announced her retirement.
That's actually crazy. And again, when it comes to the time trial itself, before we dive into the celebratory noises that we'll make about Grace Brown, I always feel like Grace Brown is better the longer a time trial goes on. And that is definitely beneficial when the last spot of the time trial is also flat, which would benefit her more than Demi Vollering. But I must highlight also how crazy good the performance by Demi Vollering was. She must be in good form for the World Championships road race. And next to that, her time trial has gotten better over the years. Last year, already pretty good when it comes to her time trial, but winning that Tour de France Femme time trial, and then now that performance today, gotta hammer it home. Demi Vollering, wonderful performance. But Grace Brown, you said it. LBL, Olympics ITT. We've got this ITT at the World Championships in Zurich as well. Which, yes, Vollering lives in the country of Switzerland. She had probably more chance to recon than Grace Brown. But still, Grace Brown, Jesus Christ, man. Like, she's retiring. She announced her retirement. Why? I think, was it before or after LBL? I think after LBL. After winning Liège-Bastogne-Liège, she announces her retirement. I think it's related to a desire to have children, etc. in Australia. That's something that I read, but I'm not 100% certain about that. And then she wins the Olympics and World Champs TT, which this is like peak of her career easily. Like, let's get that out of the way. Peak of her career by a mile, which there's not a lot of riders that I can remember that went out on top. We spoke about Cancellara earlier, winning the Olympics ITT at Rio and retiring that same year. But this is like 3 times the next level. On one end, it's extremely badass, but I'm torn between extremely badass and extremely sad because she's probably very happy with the decision. But me as a viewer, I'm happy for her, but I'm sad she's leaving the sport, because she's fucking good.
Well, yeah, she's improving. Like, she's 2022, lost World Champs TT by 13 seconds, close margin. Last year, she lost in Glasgow by 6 seconds to Dygert, and this year she wins the first time her World Champs TT where she's been close before. So she's improving, it seems, although she was a top, say, 15 or 20 rider in the world, I would say, since 2020. Since COVID, she's been a pretty dominant force. Yep. And that's her decision, and it's fantastic, obviously, as an Australian to see her winning. And I want to, hopefully, I don't know what her plans, but hopefully at least in January, it's early enough, it's not that far away.
Yes.
I would love, does she get to wear the World Champs bands in the Aussie Nats TT?
I don't know about that one, but
she should.
I want the Sanders Stood and Under to put in a time trial in the women's race.
Yeah.
Just for Grace Brown
Australian team
to make that her end race, her, what do you call that? Her retirement race. That would be a fantastic exit to maybe her plans are, I don't know, maybe her plans are for this to be a retirement and maybe to come back to the sport eventually, whether it's as a cyclist or as a staff member, which is a possibility in the future. Who knows? But I feel like this needs a nice closure, and I reckon a Sanderson and under TT victory in the World Championships jersey would be pretty fantastic. Because outside of that, well, how else are we going to see that jersey? Like,
exactly, yeah.
We're not going to see it in the mixed relay, which I don't even care about the mixed relay to begin with.
Maybe she just does world champs. I mean, Amber Neben's 49 years old. She came top 10 again.
Yeah.
She's been top 10 in world champs about 15 times just about. So...
yeah, but then you need to support your own development yourself or with personal sponsors instead of a full-on team, you know, and your own training, etc. Which,
yeah,
I think that's financially more costly. Then again, she's probably looking pretty good in that market after an Olympics and World Championships victory, ITT as well. So wouldn't shock me if that's possible. I'd like to see it.
Anyway, she wins, huge win for her. She makes history, and then Remco does a bit later as well. So really interesting time trial sort of history this year. Vollering second, only 16 seconds back. Dijgert third. She gets another World Championships medal on 56 seconds. Niedermeyer wins the U23 Championships, but also fourth in the elites. Huge performance from her. She was 9 seconds away from bronze. So that's really, she's what, 21, 22, 21, does ski mountaineering or some European BS like that.
What's her ceiling? Because this is much better in time trial than we've seen before from her. We've seen her do solid time trials, but this is the next step. We've seen her win mountain stages in the Giro Don before. Have we maybe expected a little more GC wise this year? I don't know. Didn't she top 10 GC at the Giro Don again this year, or am I making that up?
Yeah, she was 6th this year in GC. She was 6th in Swiss GC. She's a GC prospect. She's a time trial first GC rider who's probably good on the steady long climbs. So, I mean, at like 52 kilos or what PCS says,
yeah,
she's obviously putting a lot of power out. So she's a huge prospect. And Canyon Schramm got her. They extended her and Bauernfeind, the other German big talent. And Dijgert as well. She extended for another year past 26.
Yep.
And they kept Bradbury, they kept Niewiadoma. So somehow Canyon Schramm kept Bauernfeind, Niewiadoma, Niedermeyer, Bradbury, Dijgert, which is pretty impressive.
But
other teams sleeping.
Niedermeyer for 2025, not afterwards. Bauernfeind
Same
for
with
2025, not afterwards. I feel like that's dangerous because these are very, very talented riders, and in women's cycling, the contracts are shorter in general, which that's going to become longer and longer. But these are huge talents, and you want those riders as secured as possible.
Yeah.
And they're ready to be poached after 2025.
That's for sure. Niedermeyer 4th, Kopecky 5th. So after Europeans, she couldn't do it on this course. Schweinberger 6th, Christine Schweinberger, that is. Anna Henderson 7th, Van Dijk 8th, Laboon 9th, Amber Neben, as I said, another top 10, very, very impressive. But yeah, her consistency. So another very, very interesting TT. Vollering, I think we'll end the women's. Benji, does this doesn't really change my thoughts too much on the men's road race, although we still have the preview yet to do. But for the women's, I think seeing Vollering in this shape makes me think for the road race she is really, really in top shape.
Yeah, I think she's definitely in top shape seeing today. Will that be enough to beat someone like Lotte Kopecky? I think that will also depend on team performance, because on paper you'd say the Dutch team is very strong. We're already doing a preview now. This is dangerous. We can't get too much into preview either. But
yeah, are you worried about Kopecky as a Belgian seeing this performance today?
I'm not worried because I saw Romandie as well, and Vollering, if she didn't want to sprint against Kopecky on top, she could have tried dropping Kopecky on the climb itself, which it's a teammate, so that's maybe not. It's a very difficult situation, but it showed that Kopecky's pretty good at climbing.
She tried to drop her.
Yeah,
she tried to drop her.
It showed that Kopecky was a pretty good climber that day. I'm more worried about, if someone else goes early out of the Netherlands, can Belgium respond to that? Justine Hekier maybe. She's been good. Can we get Julie van der Velde in a group like that? Will they be as promising there? Lore de Schepper even. She was top 10 at Tour de Romandie. She's not some random chat GPT Belgian rider. She's pretty fucking good. So I actually think, after checking through the team, that are looking pretty solid. So I guess we'll find out at the World Championships preview this week, or next week at least, whether I believe in Kopecky or not.
Yep. But that's all from us. I'm just seeing a tweet from Andorra's electricity from FEDA Andorra. Us inform que há una incidencia que afecta al subministramento eléctrico de diversas zonas del país. That means the electricity's fucked in areas of the country. So Luke was he wasn't making it up. Oh
yeah.
He's back. He's
probably just salty that Arvid de Klein lost the sprint the other day against was it Merlier?
Are we doing the Hoekspijl Alpha Sun Hoekspijl powered by Lotto recap, Benji? Tim Merlier won again. Tim Merlier's won 3 in a row. He won Euros, then he won Kampioenschap van Vlaanderen, and then he won the Hoekspijl. The 1-1 level in Belgium is so much higher than the 1-1 level in France, because I just read out Merlier Mayus Koi, pretty good, right? In Parachoni, no offense to them, but Demar Penue Fretin is not the same level, is it? A sprinter.
It is not. It is not.
And then in Luxembourg, we also had a very, very interesting final stage where David Gaudu won the stage ahead of Quinn Simmons and Jagar. They rode away with Tiberi, who was riding for GC. Van der Poel was isolated in the group behind, seemed a bit too passive, and actually lost GC to Tiberi, who moved up from 5th to 1st. He won it easily by 15 seconds in the end, so great move from him. Maybe Van der Poel didn't know he couldn't keep track of everyone. He was also marking UAE, who rode a little bit strange, and yeah, that was a really interesting final. So Gaudu wins the stage there, and Tiberi wins GC. It was very funny because the race is sponsored by Little Trek, so his leader's jersey that he put on was Little Trek.
Wait, sponsored by Little Trek or by Little?
Little, yeah, same thing.
Imagine if a leader's jersey is sponsored by an actual cycling team.
Yeah. So yeah, that was good, but Van der Poel's certainly looking good for World Championships next. This was a tune-up for World Champs next Sunday, although I would say I needed him to drop Pedersen there. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I needed him to drop Pedersen on that climb.
So, I'm sorry, but maybe I'm saying too much already, but I just think the Zurich parkour is actually quite hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. And Poggi and Remco on that.
Because I'm thinking back of Van der Poel into the Swiss on Lichtstrasse a few years ago. This climb in Zurich looks too long on paper based on the history of Van der Poel.
And they do it a million times.
But maybe I'll change my mind by the World Championships preview.
Save for the preview. And Van der Poel, big race rider. He doesn't care about a dot pro race in Luxembourg. He's just tuning up. That's all from us. Hope you enjoyed the recap of the World Championships TT. We will have the road race previews maybe about Wednesday next week. And thanks to Join Cycling as always. And we'll see you with the recap, the preview then. Ciao.